drive it? Only time will tell. Now, Richard, you've dedicated a whole chapter in your book to monster trucking.
I have. Well, they're very important.
They are important, yes. How do you actually go about driving them in terms of they are very heavy, so why are they so easy to move?
Well, for one thing, they've got massive engines, which is simple, so they've got lots of power. But another, yes, because of the weight, they are so heavy. Those wheels they have, I mean, they're massive. They're 5 times the size of a wheel on an ordinary car. Look, you can see them there.
Yeah,
enormous. But the tyres on them, they don't pump up completely.
Really?
And that allows it to spread its weight. And it's best explained. Well, I've got a demo.
You've got
here.
2 balloons.
Did you notice these?
Yeah,
Just to
did.
celebrate.
Curious.
This is a fully inflated one, and you'll see how it sits proud of the surface. Whereas this is more like the soft tyres on a monster truck, and it sort of sinks a little bit. And there's more of the balloon on my hand, and that spreads the weight so it doesn't sink in. You can demonstrate it for yourself. Push your hand into your other one like that. And then do the same pressure, but with your fingernail.
Ow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's the same pressure, but focused over a smaller area. So that also means it gets more grip. So when these are some cars it might drive over in your monster truck, they'd be bigger, not a cat.
No, wouldn't want to
That
show
would
the
be a
kicking.
massive cat. So the balloon or soft tyre comes up to the car and it squashes around the car, and that lets it grip. So that lets it clamber over things. So soft tyres, you see, they're very useful.
Well, as well as the pressure of the tyres, how come these trucks can move over these cars with so much ease and manoeuvre easily as well?
Well, a crucial part then is the suspension, which is the bit that connects those big wheels to the truck itself.
Okay.
And that's, well, basically, you can see them working there. There's some springs, so it lands on springs. They're massive.
Oh, look, there they are. Look,
Well, these are actually the shock absorbers that go
really?
inside the springs, and that's because if you didn't have those, when it landed on those big springs, it would just keep bouncing for days. Shock absorbers stop it doing that, so it bounces once, and then you can drive it.
Okay.
It's very clever.
Moving on from our monsters, I did the Wall of Death a couple of weeks ago. Here's a little clip for any of you guys who maybe didn't catch it. Now, as you can see, I thankfully didn't come off the bike and land on the floor, but there's science behind that. So, Richard, what went on there?
Well, it is just that force pushing it out and the friction of the tyres sticking it to the wall. And I can demonstrate that as well.
Oh, I love your
You
demonstration.
wondered what this
You've got
was?
everything.
You see, this is a miniature wall of death. And here's my car, and I'll demonstrate. It's the same thing as if you ever watched a tumble dryer going round.
Yes, I do that often.
You have nothing better to do? All right, it's boring day. Well, that's sticking the clothes to the outside. That's all it is, and it'll work the same with this little car. If I set it going, you see, that's now sticking to the sides. That's the friction of the tyres being pushed onto the wall, holding it. If it goes too slow, it falls off. So it has to keep moving.
And there you go.
That is absolutely stunning. Well, you guys could be talking to us about cars. Rich, we've got some questions here for some of our viewers. Do you mind if I quiz you?
Yeah, as long as they're not too tricky.
All
Go
right,
on. Yes,
okay.
of course.
Okay, I've got this one here that says, what is your favourite car that you've ever driven and why?
I get asked that a lot. And you know, it's really hard to answer. There isn't one. It depends what you're doing in the car. If I'm going really fast on a racetrack, Pagani's Honda F. But if I'm just going out with my family and my dogs, my 50-year-old Land Rover. So it depends what you're doing on the day for the ride.
Car for every occasion, I like
It's
that.
hard to answer.
Okay, the next question is, I'm a big fan. I want to know how old you were when you got into cars, and does it run in your family?
I can't remember when I first got into cars. I always have loved them forever. And does it run in the family? Well, my one grandfather, he was always mending cars, mostly because his cars were always rubbish and he had to fix them. But he loved cars. And my other grandfather, he was a coach builder, back in the days when they made cars largely out of wood. So yeah, it runs in the family, yeah.
Okay, I've got one here from Pilot James 333, lovely name, like it myself. What's the most fun thing you've ever done on Top Gear?
Well, it's all of it. A lot of fun. Work. It's, you know, it's probably when we drove across Botswana, when the three of us had to buy two-wheel drive, not big four-wheel drive off-road cars, and drive them across Botswana without going on the roads. And I bought Oliver, the little yellow Opel Kadett. And I drove him all the way across Botswana, and he made it. And then I shipped him home.
Oh, you've still got Oliver.
Yeah, I put him on a ship from Africa and brought him back, and he now lives with me at home.
It's like a small pet.
Yeah, he's rubbish as a car, but he's lovely. Yeah.
Well, cheers for that, mate. We'll be talking to you a little later on, OK? But earlier, well, we have Mr. Richard Hammond in the studio too, talking to us about the science behind how cars move. Now, Rich, what is the fastest road car you've ever driven?
Road car, not a race car.
Yeah, road car.
Bugatti Veyron.
Oh, yeah, I love that car.
It's an astonishing thing. 253 miles an hour, that car will go.
God, look at those flaps at the back as well.
Well, it sort of changes its shape as it goes along so that it improves its aerodynamics when it goes faster. It's an incredibly complex, clever car.
Aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got a bit of footage of you in action. Let's check this out.
We are away! We're neck and neck! I can't believe I'm looking in... Whoa!
another day in the office.
What kind of plane was that?
As a Eurofighter Typhoon.
Oh, that's no ordinary plane, is it?
No, they're quite fast. I lost.
Oh, well.
It happens.
Never mind. Now, speaking of speed, what makes one car go faster than another?
Well, there's quite a lot of factors in that, actually. There's aerodynamics, which is the shape of the car. That's what it means, how cleanly it cuts through the air. And then there's the power. It needs a nice big engine. But the power is important only when you consider the weight. Because if it's really heavy, you need more power.
Yeah, sure.
So if you think about it, if you had two identical cars, but you put an elephant in one of them...
An elephant?
You might.
Okay.
Which one's going to go fastest?
The one with the
Yeah,
wheels.
exactly. Instinct tells you that. The guy who really pinned that down as a scientist was Isaac Newton.
All right,
He
yeah.
was really clever.
He was on it.
Really very clever.
Yeah, yeah.
And his second law basically says that the heavier something is, the more force you need to push it.
Sure,
Which
Makes
kind of
sense.
is true, and I can demonstrate it.
Okay, we're not
I
going to
love your
argue with Sir
demonstration.
Isaac Newton. Okay, we're just going to do this for fun, yeah?
3 identical cars, one of which has got, sorry, quite a lot of weight on it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sorry. The other one's got a little bit of weight, and the other one's got none.
So hold on.
Hello?
We invite you to the studio and you decide to cheat.
This is a scientific experiment.
Okay.
I'm the control. This is the car with no extra weight on it. That's it with some, that's it with a lot. And
All
you'll
right.
see the difference it makes to the acceleration.
Okay, you ready? On your marks?
Yes.
Get set.
Yes.
And go. Come on, sped up. No. Oh,
You see?
acceleration.
I don't know where you went in the... Where did you go?
I'm not so sure where mine went. However, it's fair to say at some point it was last.
That was absolutely
just
brilliant.
was.
What a race. Well, guys, you can try this at home. All you need is 3 cars and 3 separate weights and see which actually accelerates quicker. It's good fun.
Richard, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for
We've had a
inviting me.
lot
It's been
of
fun.
When can we see you next in Top Gear?
Top Gear's back in June, end of June.
Brilliant. Well, we should be tuning in for that.
Cannot wait for that, but unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, let's have another race.
You've already seen our movie.